So I wanted to make a tutorial talking about this piece of gear. This is the Tascam Portastudio 424 Mark I. It's essentially a 4-track cassette tape player. Here's the cassette deck. Now the reason I first got into 4-track recording was because I read an article talking about how Elliott Smith recorded his first few albums actually on this piece of gear in the 90s, and I just thought that was really cool. And I've been struggling a lot with perfectionism when it comes to digital recording because you can just edit things to death. So I figured what the heck, I'll buy one of these and then see if I like the workflow. And I've become pretty addicted to it, to be honest. Just the idea of having only one take, not being able to edit after the fact, very little EQ, bare bones. So it really forces you to be creative in other ways and to connect with the emotion of what you're recording, knowing that you won't be able to fix much after the fact. So what I want to do today is just show you guys how to record a song from scratch on this machine. The song I'm going to be recording is a song I'm going to be releasing called Montreal, which is where I grew up. It's not going to be the same track that I'm releasing. I'm re-recording the song so that I can show you guys how to record on this Portastudio. All right, now let's just do a little overview of what all these knobs do. You have your mixer section. It's these 4 tracks right here. These knobs here, that's your pre-gain. Now you have your EQ section. This I absolutely love about this machine because you only have 2 EQs. You have essentially a high shelf and a low shelf. According to the manual, the low is at 100 hertz and the high is at 10K. You also have an effect knob. You can hook up an external effects unit, and then you have your pan knob, which is a pan knob. There's not much to explain there except for when you're recording, and we'll get into that because it has a very different function on the way in than when you play back. I'll get into these ones later. Here's your master level. Now let's go into this section over here. DBX. It's a noise reduction system. It does a pretty good job for 90s technology, but it's basically just to take out unwanted room sound. Tape itself is already pretty noisy, so I just kind of leave it on. Tape speed. You have 3 tape speeds, and this is particular to this machine. The later models didn't have 3 tape speeds, so it's actually pretty cool. When you record high, that's the highest quality, so the tape moves faster, and you record on less tape, so it has higher fidelity. Normal is a compromise. It's the tape moves normally, and so you get medium fidelity. And then slow, the tape moves slowly, and you record more information on less tape, so you have low fidelity. I like to keep it at high. It means that you use more tape, so it's a little more expensive to record on high. But the whole setup is already pretty lo-fi, so if we start slow, we really have no room to grow. Whereas you can always slow it down after. There are some cool effects to be made if you record slow and then speed it up. For today, we're going to leave it at high. These have to do with the memory. It's basically so that when you record, you stop and you rewind, it goes back to the same spot on the tape, so you don't have to always be looking for the beginning of the song or whatever section you want to record from. The pitch control knob is really fun, so when you play back the tape, you can slow it down or you can speed it up. It doesn't just speed up or slow down the tape, but it also raises the pitch if you speed it up, or it lowers the pitch when you slow it down. So there's some cool effects to be made there. I usually like to just either pitch it up a tiny bit or pitch it down a tiny bit at the end, depending. It kind of glues everything together. Not always, but a lot of the time I'll do that. All right, so now let's get started. Open up the tape deck. Today I'm going to be recording on this type of tape. There's many different types of tape, and maybe I'll do a video on different types and their characteristics. This is Maxell high bias XLII audio cassette, and then this is always fun, just tearing it. Okay, now to start, we're going to want, this is similar to like film photography. If you take a picture at the beginning of the roll, it's not going to show up. You have to kind of have the lead tape go a little bit forward before you start recording. So I usually just press play and then wait for the counter to get to around, 5 seconds, 10 if you want to be safe. Let's be safe today because we're making a video, don't want to mess up. 10. And now we press this button here to put the counter back to 0. Essentially what that means is that every time we go back, it's going to go back to the spot that we're at now, which even though it says 0 here, it's actually 10 seconds in, right? Because we have the memory here set to rewind. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to record a little drum machine. Now this won't make it to the final track, but I do find that recording to a click can be beneficial when you're recording several instruments. So to do that, we're going to record it on channel 4. All right, so this is the drum machine we're going to be recording with today. Nothing groundbreaking, but it'll keep us in time. So this is a stereo drum machine, but since we only have 4 tracks, we can't really afford to do stereo. Each track is very valuable. So we're going to just take the left output, which is usually mono, and we're going to send it to track 4. To record, now this is the important part, we need to arm the track. To my understanding, the way a 4-track tape machine works is usually a cassette has 2 tracks. Left and right. Now, when you flip the cassette, you get the other side of the tape, and that has 2 tracks, left and right. So in total, you have 4. What they did on these cassettes is you have a way to record on all 4 of those tracks, the side A and the side B. But it's very important where you pan it to, because you only have 2 right tracks and 2 left tracks. So the panning knob here at the beginning has nothing to do with the final pan on the mix. It's just which side of the tape you're going to record on. So I like to keep things organized. On track 4, I'm going to send it to the right. Now here, this is where we arm the tracks. So this is track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4. I go direct, which means it's directly recording track 4. Set the gain around there. Now, since it's a line input, we probably don't need a lot of gain. EQ can leave it pretty flat. So now we're going to record the drum machine into the Portastudio. And then this is set to mic line. That will make sure that we're recording instead of just playing back, which is the middle position. And then the right position is to record to the right side of the track only. That's another way to do it. But for today, we're just going to do the direct method. Only going to record the right side, so we only have the right side enabled. This is a very satisfying sound. We press record here and play here, and then it's recording, and we make the drum machine start. All right, that's probably enough for us. So we press stop here, and it didn't stop because I didn't press stop on the drum machine. And let's make sure that was recorded properly. So to do that, we're going to press rewind just once, and it'll take this back to 0. And then to hear it back, we have to set this to tape, and this we have to set to the middle position as well. We're gonna hear it in stereo, so let's press the left monitor in. So now we're hearing both sides of the tape, left and right, and I want to listen to it down the middle, so we're gonna pan it to the middle and listen back. All right, that'll get the job done. So now let's rewind and let's prepare to record the acoustic guitar. So a few things here. We're going to record it to the first channel. This machine doesn't have any XLR inputs. So in order to record microphones, we need an adapter. So I have this female to male XLR to 1/4" mono adapter that we'll put into track 1 and then connect our XLR cable into that. Now, in the interest of lo-fi recording, we're going to use this guy, a Shure Beta 57. It's kind of like an SM57. So now we just plug that in there. We're going to record to the left side now, direct here on track 1. And then we're going to set it to mic in line track 1 as well. And then panning all the way to the left. To record acoustic instruments or mic instruments and not line instruments, you need to use your headphones. Since we're recording to the left channel, we don't need to press this button that says right. We can put this fader all the way down. And how am I going to hear the metronome? Okay, that's what this Q button is for. The Q button is basically what you're going to be listening to on your headphones while you record. So you have track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4. It plays back what's already on the tape while you record. So we're going to press that button. So left and Q. Recording on left and listening on Q. And since we have our drum machine on track 4, we're going to put that to about noon. I have to listen to it to know. But that's it. We should be all set for recording. A few things that I forgot to mention when I had the overhead view. The gain, the mic gain for this, I personally like to turn it all the way up on the way in. The reason for that being that tape has a really nice characteristic when you drive it really hard. It has a natural compression, and depending on the tape type, it'll also have a low frequency bump, and it just sounds very warm and full. EQ, I'm putting everything noon. Sometimes I like to EQ on the way in a little bit if I'm really sure of what I want, but a lot of times I can just do that when I mix it down. let's just listen back to what I just recorded. To do that, remember we have to make sure this is in the middle and this is in the middle. We have left and right activated so we can listen to it in stereo. Cue button off. All right, and then let's listen to it. I'm gonna pan it to the middle for now, and I'm gonna leave the drum machine on so you can listen to both at the same time, even though we're not gonna leave the drum machine playing in the final. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. In the context of everything, it's going to be nice. One other thing I did notice is that the song felt a little bit slow. So I think what I'm going to do is just at the end, I'm going to speed everything up, and then that'll make the song feel like it's not dragging. Next up, we're going to record the electric guitar, 1/4-inch cable, and plug it directly into the input of track 2. We're going to record to the right side, because remember, we need to record on one side or full on the other when we're recording. We can't record somewhere here, because what happens when we do that is we're recording mostly to the right side, but a little bit will get to the left side. If that's what you want, cool. But for me, I want to know that I can pan something without it getting all screwy. Direct line input, direct here on track 2. We're only recording the right side of the tape. For electric guitars, I kind of like to leave it around 6 o'clock. It gives it a little bit of character, but it's still clean, and it's just very nice. We're going to record around 8, and then for the headphones, just make sure you press the cue so you know what you're recording to. I'm going to leave the drum machine, which is on track 4, and I'm going to leave the acoustic guitar, which is on track 2, and I'm going to put a lot of acoustic guitar so that I know what I'm playing to. There were a few flubbed notes here and there, but let's listen to it and see what we got. Let's make sure this is back to the middle, that this one's back to the middle, and then that the left and the right are engaged. That way we're listening to just the tape and we're not recording anything by mistake. And since we're not listening at headphones either, we can take off the cue. We're mostly going to just listen to the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar, and then just maybe have the drum machine a little bit on to make sure we're in time. Panning, I'm thinking sending the acoustic guitar a little bit to the left and the electric guitar a little bit to the right, and then we'll probably do some EQ moves just to kind of get an idea of where this is headed. Nice. Okay, so I like that overall. For vocals, let me just start by saying that I am not the biggest fan of my own voice, and so recording to this particular machine has been difficult for me in that way, because you can't varnish things with auto-tune or compression. EQ is very limited. So there's two things that I do to combat that insecurity. One is just accept that my voice is my own, and trying to convey emotion, not perfection. And then the other thing is double tracking, which is what Elliott Smith did because he didn't like the sound of his voice. John Lennon as well, even though he hated double tracking, he did it a lot because he didn't like the sound of his voice on its own. So it has a storied tradition, and we're going to do that today. But we can't do both at the same time, so we're just going to start with one vocal. We're going to record it on track 3, and we're going to use the same microphone that we did earlier. We're going to use the left channel, and then we're only going to record to the left channel. We are going to go mic line. Let's set the gain all the way up, and we'll leave the EQ at noon for now. We'll decide what to do with it later around 8 here and on the master. So we actually have 3 gain stages. We have the pre-gain, we have the fader level, and we have the master, and all those are going directly to tape. So we can't do anything about them after the fact. Let's arm the track for recording to direct, and then on the cue, let's make sure we got plenty of guitars. So the acoustic guitar on track 1, the electric guitar on track 2, and then a little bit of drum machine on track 4, just to keep things nice and tight rhythmically as much as possible. Heart is melting in my throat. Heart is melting in my throat. Never felt like this before. Making It's not a perfect take. There's a couple of pitch issues and little things, but overall, I think we can live with it. So we're going to do the same thing for the double. Just take that over there, move this all the way up, take all the faders down, direct up to 8, sure the master fader is up to 8, direct here. Make sure we're recording to the right side of the tape. Make sure that only the right channel is enabled. Remember, you want to record there. And then for the cue, which is what I'm going to be hearing back on the headphones, I want to be hearing back the guitars, the vocal I just recorded, and absolutely no drum machine. Heart is melting in my throat. I was pretty happy with that. Let's listen back to all 4 tracks recorded. So to do that, let's just bring all the faders down to 0. Left and right enabled, cue off. This going to tape, same thing here. All right, and then let's rewind and let's just put all the faders kind of roughly around 8 o'clock. For the double, I think I want them a little bit pan to the sides, but not a lot. So kind of like around there. And let's make the same EQ moves for the double as for the first vocal. And let's bring them down a little bit. Heart is melting in my throat. Never felt like this before. Making angels in the snow, grabbing my arm and pulling down. Watching the snowflakes falling down and hit the ground, frozen in time beneath the sky, watching the snow fall, feeling it all. Alright, so I think the main thing that's not gelling for me is just that it's a bit slow. So I'm just going to try with the pitch control knob up a tiny bit. What that's going to do is also glue everything together really nicely. So let's see how it sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heart is melting in my throat. Never felt like this before. Making angels in the snow, grabbing my arm and pulling down. Watching the snowflakes falling down and hit the ground, frozen in time beneath the sky, watching the snow fall, feeling it all. Yeah, nice. Okay. So a little bit of the drum machine there. One last thing that I'm going to do. Right now everything is completely dry. I wonder how it would sound like if I put a little bit of spring reverb on it from my Moog grandmother, which has an actual spring reverb tank inside of it. I'm going to go handheld here for a second just to show you the wonderful, beautiful Moog grandmother. This is the only part of it that we're going to use. So we're going to bring the mix all the way up to 100%. We're going to feed sound from the Tascam into the grandmother, and it's going to make the spring go like that, and then we're going to send the sound of the spring going like that back into the Tascam, and that'll be our reverb. The routing goes like this. This cable right here, the effect send mono, and we're going to feed it into the reverb in. The next step is we're going to take the reverb out of the grandmother here, and we're going to feed it back in to one of these 2 channels. And then let's go 5, 6. Still in left and right, assigning this to left and right. If we assign it to Q, it's only going to come out of the headphones. Let's take the level of the reverb return all the way up. Effect master, let's put it at noon, and then everything will start with 0 and then slowly bring it up. Let's listen to the track, and then I'll start bringing in the reverb on some of the tracks. Heart is melting in my throat. Never felt like this before. Making angels in the snow, grabbing my arm and pulling down. Watching the snowflakes falling down and hit the ground, frozen in time beneath the sky, watching the snow fall, feeling it all. So actually quite like that. That was quite nice. I thought it was going to be too much. I think what might be nice on the vocals is just to turn up the reverb on the chorus a little bit. Now the thing with the Portastudio is also each mix is going to be different. Each time that you play the song back, you have to manually adjust. And that's wonderful because it forces you to think of even mixing as a performance instead of this static thing where it's going to recall what you did every time. It's not. So a mix is essentially a live mix each time. So here, we're going to do a live mix now, play it back, and then that'll be the finished, quote unquote finished. It's never finished, but that'll be the finished product for today.
Heart is melting in my throat. Never felt like this before. Making angels in the snow, grabbing my arm and pulling down. Watching the snowflakes falling down and hit the ground, frozen in time beneath the sky. Watching the snow fall, feeling it all.
If you like the song and you're curious to hear the full version, it's going to be out on January 23rd. I'll put a link in the description. It's part of a project that I'm doing where I'm just recording a bunch of songs that I have written to the Portastudio, and I'm going to be releasing one every month for 2026. That is the plan, and I aim to keep it, and also just documenting some of it along the way. So for this song specifically, the version that I'm releasing is not this one. It's a full version, and it actually has more instruments than what we have tracked here. Brings up an interesting point. It's a 4-track machine, but does that mean that I can only record 4 tracks? The short answer is no. You can technically record a lot of tracks. I wouldn't say infinite tracks, but a lot of tracks. There's a technique called bouncing or ping-ponging that I aim to cover in another one of these videos where I'll show you how to do that. If you like this sort of thing, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be posting more of these videos maybe every couple of weeks where I just kind of run through some experiments and just bring you along on the journey of creating music and specifically recording music to tape. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe.